we have a faith that has so much to offer. The Catholic faith, the faith of the Church founded by our Lord Jesus Christ. As we discuss the glories, the mysteries, questions, and even misunderstandings and concerns about the Church, join us here in Voices of Faith. Magandang araw sa inyong lahat at ako po si Carlos Antonio Palad ng Defensores Fidei Foundation, nagbabalik dito sa Voices of Faith ng Faith Watch Channel. Ngayong buwan ng Hunyo or June, ginugunita ng marami sa ating mga citizens, sa ating mga kapatid na merong same-sex or homosexual attractions, ang tinatawag nila na Pride Month. At dahil dito, marami sa ating mga Katoliko ay naguguluhan kung paano ba tayo dapat paano tayo dapat mag-react dito sa Pride Month, sa mga celebrations ng Pride Month. May mga nagsasabi na dapat bilang mga Kristiyano ay tanggapin natin yung Pride Month, i-celebrate din natin kasama ng tinatawag na LGBT community. May mga nagsasabi naman na hindi natin pwedeng tanggapin ang celebrations ng Pride Month dahil ito ay labag sa utos ng Diyos at ng simbahan. Upang tayo ay gabayan sa mga issue na involved dito sa Pride Month at ang ating pakikipagtungo sa mga kapatid natin na mga LGBT or mga same-sex attracted, gusto ko pong kausapin si Ginoong Rollie de los Reyes, na dating presidente ng Courage Philippines. Courage Philippines is a spiritual support group for individuals who experience same-sex attraction. Magandang araw sa inyo, Rollie. Rollie de los Reyes.
Hello, magandang araw, Kaloy. Good to be here.
Actually, Rollie is my friend. so we are on first term. We are actually the first name basis. So, Rollie, napag-usapan natin itong Pride Month. Pero bago natin siguro i-touch on yung Pride Month, gusto ko lang matanong, pwede mo ma-explain sa ating mga tagapakinig, ano ba yung LGBT? Ano ba ibig sabihin ng acronym na ito? At bakit pa iba-iba? Kasi merong LGBT lang, merong LGBTQ, LGBTQIA, or LGBTQ++, at no offense meant to any of our listeners who might consider themselves to be part of the LGBTQ community. Pero bakit parang paiba-iba at nakakalito na kasi yung ibig sabihin ng acronym? So ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng mga acronyms na ito? Pakipaliwanag para sa ating sa ating audience.
Yeah, okay. So salamat Kaloy for that, no. So initially LGBT lang naman talaga, no, ang ating letters, no, patungkol doon sa mga kasamahan natin who may have homosexual attractions, no. Pero bago diyan, no, gusto ko munang tunguhin, no, yung tatlong terms, no, na kumaga nakapaloob dito sa mga letrang na ito, no. Bakit nga ba nagkakaroon ng ganito mga letra? Ito ay nakabase dito sa tatlong terms na ito. The first one is biological sex. O ngayon, tinaterm na nila as sex assigned at birth. And this is about our biological genitalia, no? Kaya sa mga illustrations, no, kadalasan yung biological sex o yung sex assigned at birth, no, nakatungo doon sa genitalia ng tao. Ito ba ay may penis? Ito ba ay may vagina, no? So, yun yung biological sex. It talks about the genitalia, the biological makeup of the person, no? In terms of chromosomes rin, ito yung XX or XY. On the other hand, we also have what we call gender identity, no? At pag yun ang tinungo, no, makikita natin sa illustrations ng mga kasamahan natin from the LGBT camp, no? Ito ay patungkol sa utak, no? At ito ay patungkol sa kung paano mo tinitingnan ang sarili mo. Do you see yourself, no, even though you may have a male genitalia, do you see yourself as a woman? Or even though you may have a female genitalia, do you see yourself, do you think of yourself as a man? So, yun yung gender identity, kaya nakafocus sa utak. And lastly, is about
Ito ba yung
sexual
mga,
at,
gusto ko lang matanong, no? Ito ba yung
yeah,
magsasabi na sila daw ay lalaki na trap sa katawan ng babae or babae
yeah,
na trap sa katawan ng lalaki? Tapos yun yung mga nagsasabi, no?
you may term it that way, no? So, humaga pwedeng sabihin na ganun. At mamaya matutunguhan natin yung transgenderism na tinatawag. Kaya nakaakibat yun doon, no? So, kung magkaiba ang biological sex mo doon sa gender identity mo, kadalasan ang tawag doon ay meron kang transgenderism, no? Or in psychological terms, so ayaw nila kasing i-ano to eh. Ito rin yung kailangan nating tingnan, no? The American Psychological Association, no, would want to distinguish, no, transgender people from people whom they are calling as having gender dysphoria, o yung kaiba ang isip doon sa genitalia nila, no? Kung meron daw ganun na conflict, no? Pero kung wala daw conflict, no, na parang ang tingin talaga niya sa kanyang sarili ay babae siya, no? Transgender daw 'yon. At kailangan daw na kumbaga sabihin na natin i-correct yung biological makeup ng tao instead ng pag-iisip ng tao. No, parang yun ang tunguhin ng APA, no? But balikan natin yun. No? So we have biological sex. Second is the gender identity. Pangatlo is sexual orientation. And sexual orientation is based on, no, the heart. No? Yun ang tunguhin naman ang figure nito at kung paano kanino tumitibok ang puso mo, nung sa lalaki ba o sa babae. So, dito sa tatlong terminology na ito, no, biological sex or sex assigned at birth, gender identity, and sexual orientation, dito ka nakapaloob yung mga letrang LGBTQIA. So for example, kung lesbian ka, you are a person who is a biological woman, as a female, no? Pero ang gender identity mo, pwede siyang maging male or female, no? So, pwedeng isip mo pa rin. Kaya, if you would notice, there are lesbians na mukhang Miss Universe pa, no?
Oo.
So, they
Nakakalito
are
nga
alive,
eh.
no?
Nakakalito nga eh. Kasi
Oo.
akala ko dati, lahat ng mga lesbian ay yung titibo-tibo. Yung mukhang
Mm.
lalaki. Kasi hindi pala, meron palang mga lesbian na babaeng babae pero lesbiana.
Yeah. And that is where they are also fighting and we are also fighting in a way, no? Yung mga gender stereotypes na tinatawag. No? At alam naman natin yan as we grow up, di ba? Yung mga panglaro ang babae, laro ang lalaki, damit babae, no? So, ayun yung mga gender stereotypes. And it also overflows, no? Dito sa LGBTQIA, no? So, meron lesbians na mukhang babae, meron lesbians na mukhang lalaki, no? Kasi hindi yun nakabase doon sa gender identity na nakabase doon sa sexual orientation. Kanino siya na-attract? Sa babae, no? Kaiba naman to sa gay. Ang gay naman is born male, so biological male, pero pwede rin ang isipan niya pwedeng lalaki o pwedeng babae. Kaya nga sabi nga natin, nung panahon ko, no, pag sinabi mong gay, no, talagang ito yung mga parloristang gay. Nandiyo sa parlor, nagugupit, no, may makeup and
yung
everything.
yung
But,
ating yung bakla, yung talagang term na bakla
oo,
usually yun ang description, di ba?
description meaning to say effeminate, no? Yung
Oo.
equate yun. Ano, kumbaga parang nagkaroon ng gender stereotype na ganito. But now
Mm.
they're breaking boundaries in a sense na parang hindi mo nga daw nakikita na sa parlor, nakikita mo na sa gym.
Sa
So,
GM.
so these are the men who are actually, you know, building muscles, no? At hindi mo halata na sila ay gay, no?
Mhm.
So they are biological male who may think of themselves as still male, pero attracted to the same sex, attracted to males. No? Yun yung G, yun yung gay, no?
Mhm.
Yung B naman, bisexual, no? They are either male or female. Yung utak nila, yung kaisipan nila, no? Kung male siya, still male pa rin. Kung female siya, still female pa rin. Pero nagkakaiba sa sexual orientation. No? So, kumaga, they are attracted to both male and female. Yun naman ang kaibahan dun sa bisexual, no? So, yung transgender, ito yung sabihin na natin, it can defy all odds, no? Kasi, yun nga, ang biological makeup nila is male, for example, pero ang kanilang gender identity is the opposite. So, female, no? So unlike ng lesbian and gay, no, pwede siyang magkaroon ng sabihin na natin no, combination of any, no? Pero dito hindi. Pag transgender is actually the gender identity is the opposite of the biological sex, no? So yun yung transgender, no? Talaga yung sabi mo, yung cliche na parang trapped in a woman's body or a man trapped in a woman's body or a woman trapped in a man's body, no? So yun yung transgender. Now, yung queer, no, ito naman yung medyo kakaiba kasi they don't subscribe to what they call binary genders, no? So, kaya makakarinig ka na ngayon ng non-binary gender,
Pag sabi mong
no?
binary, yun yung girl, boy, male, female.
Yes,
Diba?
yes. So that's the binary gender. So when they call themselves as queer, they don't subscribe themselves to that, no? So they don't term themselves as a male or a female, no? Even lesbian, gay, no? So hindi, they're just generic queer. So kaya nga ngayon parang nagiging umbrella term na yun na parang queer, no, belongs with anyone, no, who belongs to the LGBT community, no? Pero more so, these are people who do not identify with binary sex, no? So kaya non-binary yung kanilang identity. So kaya marinig mo in terms of the preferred pronouns, that is another term that you
Oo,
may be hearing from our
isa pang malaking issue rin yan, yung mga preferred
yes,
pronouns,
no?
no?
So the preferred pronouns of the queer are they, them, no? They don't subscribe nga kasi with the binary. So
Ayaw
they don't
nilang,
subscribe with the
ayaw nilang tawagin na he or she, so gusto nilang tawagin sila
yes,
they.
they or them. Yan ang kanilang preferred pronouns because they don't subscribe nga to that. No? So ano pa bang pronoun ang hindi gendered, no? It's about they, no, yung pangkalahatan na, no? And then you have the intersex, you know, this is speaking about papasok tayo sa biological sex doon. Kasi the intersex are actually what they call the hermaphrodites. Ito yung mga merong both female and male genitalia. At sabi nga natin, no, in biology, they call that biological anomaly, no? Kumbaga, it's like 1% no, of the population na merong na hermaphrodite, no? Pero nangyayari, parang inumbrella nila na, no, there are such people like that, no? Pero kung susuriin natin, bagamat meron ganung klaseng mga tao, no, meron pa rin silang mas nakakahigit na sexual reproductive organ, no? So even though both a person may have a vagina and a penis, no, pero pag tinignan mo yung kaloob-looban niya, makikita mo kung ano talaga siya, no? And you would also see no kung ano yung kasi nga anomaly lang siya in terms of the biological makeup of the person, no? So yun ang kailangan makita natin pagdating sa intersex, no? In terms kaya nga ang nangyayari sa intersex, they could actually play around whether babae sila ngayon, kinabukasan lalaki sila, ganun. Even the queers can do that, no? Kaya nga yung androgynous, no? Makikita natin sa mga Koreano, di ba? Parang di mo na alam kung
Oo
lalaki
nga
babae.
eh.
Right?
Minsan
So,
yung isang komento ko na narinig madalas sa mga tungkol sa mga Koreano, yung mga lalaki, yung mga K-pop stars, yung mga artistas,
mm-mm,
minsan daw yung mga lalaki mas maganda pa dun sa babae.
mm-mm,
Ibig sabihin
mm-mm.
mas feminine yung dating at yung
Yeah,
mukha, ano?
yeah.
At yung features kaysa sa mga babae.
So queer people can actually act like that, no? So you would see people, for example, in a barong, pero nakasaya, no? Or you could see them in pants, no? Pero alam mo yun, parang talagang gown siya or something, no? Or blouse. So gano'n, no? Mini-mix up na nila. In a sense, they're trying to erase the binary gender,
Oh.
the male and femaleness of the person, no? So kaya may plus yan minsan, no? Kasi nga, they're trying to include everyone else, no? So it's L, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex, and queer, and asexual. Yung asexual pala, by the way, are people who do not feel attracted to anyone. No? Kumbaga, wala silang attraction, anything, no? So,
Mhm.
kaya asexual ang tawag nila doon, no?
Nung,
They don't
nung,
have a sexual orientation.
nung una ko narinig yung asexual, ang talagang reaction ko is parang, pwede palang may ganun.
Mm-mm,
Wala daw,
kasi dito
totally
sa atin
walang
sa biology, di ba,
attraction.
mga amoeba lamang asexual, di ba? Pero ngayon pwede na, no? So it's just, yun nga, if you would notice, it's all in the head. No? Kumaga, kung ano yung dikta ng isipan mo, yan ang nangyayari na, kumaga, that dictates your identity already in terms of gender. And kung anong dikta ng puso mo, that dictates already your identity as a sexual oriented person. No? So yun. So that's LGBTQIA plus.
Plus. May mabasa
Mm-mm.
ko, minsan ang dami, meron na nga 30 plus identities na talagang haba-haba na, ano?
Yeah.
But
And there was
anyway,
actually discussion when we were having some discussions with our LGBT friends, no? Sinabi na, why not sumama na lang kayo, no? Sama daw kami C, no? Kumaga masasama na kami sa alphabet. And what does C mean, no? Celibate daw, no?
mm,
So, magkakaroon LGBTQIA C plus, no? Pero sabi namin, no, wag na lang kasi we don't actually subscribe, no, doon sa ideology na ini-embrace nila.
ang lumalabas kasi is yung biological makeup natin doesn't really have any, parang hinihiwalay mo ang tao, ginagawa mong parang you're introducing a deep split into the
Mm-mm.
person between yung
Mm-mm.
kanyang biological reality, yung gender, yung biological sex at yung mentality, no? Yung gender.
Mm-mm.
Parang yun ang nangyayari dito sa
Mm-mm.
tinatawag nating mga Catholics and other Christians na gender ideology.
Mm-mm.
At at uh, ang nangyayari tuloy is sometimes you can't even, sabi nga ni Matt Walsh, ng isang
Mm-mm.
American conservative commentator, yun nga lang simpleng tanong na what is a woman, hindi na masagot ngayon kasi
Mm-mm.
for gender ideology, if you think you're a woman, even if you have a male body, then you are a woman.
Mm-mm.
And that
Mm-mm.
can change. No? So parang
Yeah.
kahit yung pinaka-identity mo nagbabago-bago. Parang yun ang nangyayari ngayon sa because of gender ideology. Anyway, no,
And we have to be careful there, no, Kaloy, kasi it doesn't stop with transgender, no? When you open the floodgates to think about what I think is who I am, no?
oh,
You would now have transracial. So you would have white men who would think of themselves as I'm a black person. No? And no matter what you say to me, I consider myself black. Kahit na siya ay white, no? So may transracial na rin. Tapos meron, eto yung dangerous, meron daw transable. And sino yung mga transable? People who are completely, kumbaga, complete in their body parts, pero who feels that they should be disabled. So ipiprick nila yung mata nila kasi they feel that dapat bulag sila. Or puputulin nila yung arm nila because they feel that they should be dismembered, no? Dapat ay disabled sila. So, yun. So, kumbaga, nanganganak eh. If
oo.
we try to,
May, may,
kumbaga, just
may,
let
nari-
it
may narinig pa
flow.
nga ako kaso sa Netherlands. Na there was this man, kasi is in good health pa, medyo macho, good looking naman, pero 64 na yata siya. So
Mm-mm.
gusto niyang ipa-redefine na siya ay mga 40 something lang. So
Mm.
he actually went to court para ipa-redefine yung age niya. Well, the court didn't allow him. Pero
Mm-mm.
isip ko,
Mm-mm.
if it's all in your head, no, then sooner or later darating tayo dun eh. Pwede natin sabihin na,
Yeah.
oy, alam nyo, hindi ako 40, actually 10 lang ako eh. Ganun kasi
Yeah.
I feel like a 10-year-old, therefore I'm 10 years old. Talaga nawawala yung ating rootedness, no? Yung ating yung pagkakaroon natin ng nawawala tayo sa realidad. No? Kung ano yung
Yeah.
iniisip
Yeah.
natin, yun ang nagiging, kung ano yung gusto natin, biglang yun ang nagiging identity natin.
In
Anyway,
fact, there are young people who are thinking of themselves as vampires, no? So, kumbaga, I'm not a person, I'm a vampire, no? So, I'm not a person, I'm a dog, di ba? And so, I would put me in a dog cage rather than in a daycare first center, no? So, that kind of absurdities is already sprouting in the Western hemisphere.
so yung Pride Month, paano ito na-attach sa LGBTQ or the community that
Mm.
identifies with yung LGBTQ, at bakit sa June siya sineselebrate?
Yeah. Well, we have to understand, very significant ang June 28, 1969,
Mhm.
because this is where the Stonewall riot incident happened, no? Stonewall happens to be a pub, no, a gay bar, no, a bar during the time of 1960s, no? Sa New York, no, is in Christopher Street, no? So, nung mga panahon na yun, 1960s, medyo ano yun, no? It's opposite of what is happening right now. Talagang highly discriminated ang mga tao who are gender-based, no? And makikita natin dito na talagang at that time, talagang ginagabi-gabi ng mga pulis itong pub na ito sa Stonewall, no? To the point na parang inaaresto, no, binabagan siya ang mga patrons doon, no? And in June 28, 1969, nagkaroon ng parang kumbaga enough is enough, no? Yung mga patrons doon, no, yung mga LGBT na nandoon. So what they did talagang they threw coins and stones and nilock up nila yung mga pulis sa loob ng Stonewall and was about to burn the pub, no, with the policemen inside, no. So kumbaga parang kaya na-consider nila na yung nga sa Pilipinas, no, ang tawag nila ang unang sigaw, no, ng LGBT, no, nangyari noong June 28, 1969. And because of that, no, na-attach talaga ang Hunyo, no, bilang Pride Month because that was the time na sa buong mundo, nung nabalitaan ng mga LGBT, no, sa iba't ibang parte ng mundo, it was the first time na the LGBT people stood up for themselves, no, and really fought, no, for their quote unquote their rights, no, which we have to understand, no, discrimination is really the root cause of this, no, and at yun naman yung lagi nilang sinisigaw up to now.
Siguro no, for the benefit of our listeners, na gusto ko lang bagitin in brief, ano na yung Catholic Church, yung teaching ngayon on those who have getong klaseng sexual attractions or yung same sex yung may mga experience ng same sex attractions or yung nagpapalagay na sila ay may gender fluidity, yung mga transgender. At tinuturo ng simbahan ay dapat wala tayong unjust discrimination laban sa kanila. Kumbaga hindi sila dapat inaaresto or pinarurusahan, lalong-lalo pa hinahatulan ng kamatayan o ng sentensya sa kulungan nang dahil lang sa kanilang sexual attractions, no? Or sa kanilang sexual identity. Ito yung ating linalabanan. Sila'y tao rin at lahat ng bilang tao, yung fundamental na human rights, they're also entitled to that. At hindi tayo naniniwala na tayo, at least yung Catholic Church, no, the Catholic Church as an institution does not believe na those who have same-sex attractions should be persecuted simply because they are same-sex. Ang pinaglalaban ng simbahan ay na yung, for example, yung marriage should remain between a man and a woman kasi ito ay isang fundamental social unit na mas matanda pa kesa sa estado, no? It's the fundamental social unit that it is ordained to the procreation and the raising of children. So you cannot simply say that those who have same-sex attraction can also enter into marriage. So you tinatawag natin na unjust discrimination is anything relating to their fundamental value and dignity as human beings. Hindi natin linalabanan yan. Hindi natin pinagkakait sa kanila yan.
Exactly. And thank you for
Sige.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out, no, Kaloy, no, kasi way back, no, even before, no, and I need to honor our Pope Emeritus, no, say Pope Benedict XVI, because in October 1, 1981, he produced this document. He was still the convener, no, or the bishop assigned in the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, no. In October 1, 1981, na-produce yung letter to the bishops on the pastoral care of homosexual persons. No? What can be stronger than that? No? That the Roman Catholic Church made this document a letter to the bishops on the pastoral care of homosexual persons. And indeed, as you have mentioned, diba, unjust discrimination should be avoided and should be abhorred, no, and should not be tolerated according to that document. And years after, no, years after, in the Catechism of the Catholic Church, no, imagine this, no, we have 3 provisions, no, on homosexuality. And di ba kung yung ibang mga isang provision lang tayo tatlo kaagad in the catechism. 3 points, 3 paragraphs were provided for us, no? And that is something that I hope our brethren here, no, who may experience same-sex attractions may want to look up into, no? Hanapin niyo po sa Catechism of the Catholic Church yung homosexuality at merong 3 paragraphs para sa atin. And one of those is saying that yung unjust discrimination should be abhorred by the Catholic Church, no? At sana sa mga Katoliko na tumutuya, nanunukso, nagdi-discriminate sa mga homosexuals, that is something that you need to look into.
So, sinisip ko rin kasi na may mga ilan rin kasi ng mga same-sex attracted individuals na masama yung kanilang attitude towards Catholicism, towards Christianity kasi ina-identify nila yung social attitudes with the church. So since we're a Catholic country, therefore yung social attitudes ay blamed on the Catholic Church. No? So for example, until recently medyo common yung lalo-lalo sa mga tipong Tondo, ganyan. My own father, by the way, is from Tondo. No? So medyo alam ko ako mismo tumira ako for some time there. So alam ko yung kultura doon. And very recently yung pag ikaw ay tawag dito, pag ikaw ay bakla, bubugbugin ka, no? So syempre hindi naman natin dapat tino-tolerate 'yon. So
Yes.
now I would like to siguro jump na to my most important question for today. Bilang Katoliko, ano ba dapat yung ating response sa mga Pride Month celebrations?
Yeah, no, kumaga, we have to remember, my dear brethren, no, that pride is actually, no, the initial sin of the devil, no. Kumaga, kaya siya naging demonyo because none serve yam, I will not serve, di ba? And that's something that we need to think about. But I want us to bring into attention, no, the reason why there was a Pride Month, no. The reason why there was a Pride Month is because people were hurting. People were being discriminated. People were on the shadows and they're saying enough is enough. We have to fight back, no? And that's why they're having this Pride Month in order to celebrate, no, their uniqueness, no. And the proper response for that, no, is humility. The opposite of pride.
The opposite of pride.
The opposite of pride is something that the Catholic should actually embrace and be and embody during this month, no? And I would say this in 2 ways. Number 1, I want us to reflect on how we have actually hurt and wounded our brothers and sisters who may have had same-sex attractions. Ano yung mga paraan nung tayo ay lumalaki, nanuksa ka ba ng isang bakla? Ikaw ba ay nambuli ng isang bakla? Ikaw ba ay pinahirapan mo ba? Sinapak mo ba? No? Pinirahan mo ba ang mga bakla at mga lesbian? No? Pag sila ay dumadaan, no, meron ka ba mga slurs na binubulong sa katabi mo? No? Alipin mo yung baklang yan. No? Tinan mo itong lesbian na to. Even simple statements like that are wounding, no? Are wounding people, no? So I want us to be humble and admit, yes, I have committed a mistake. Yes, I have sinned against people who may have experienced same-sex attractions. Let's go to confession and confess that. Let's go and be reconciled with these people who may have same-sex attractions, whom you have hurt along the way. That's the first point. The second point is for us, no, kami po sa Heritage, we hold what we call a humble meal every month of June. And what do we do there? We humbly kneel before the Lord and ask the Lord, Lord, we beg you, no, to give us clarity. Because this thing did not happen overnight. It happened decades, no? 1969 yan, hanggang ngayon nangyayari. And until now, there is still discrimination. Until now, there are still wounds that are being placed, no, on people with same-sex attractions. We humbly kneel before the Lord and beg the Lord give us clarity on how we could pastorally care for people without necessarily embracing the gender ideology that is being forced upon us. And that's something that we need to ask the Lord because we cannot do it on our own. We can only do it with the help, with the grace of God. And in the story of Courage members, both brothers and sisters, we have found ourselves to be in that kind of situation when we embraced pride, no, and we just celebrated our gayness or our LGBT, no, we went into the lifestyle, no, we had sex every night, no, and all of these things, we had relationships, no, it was actually, no, something that didn't bring us joy, no, wala naman nangyari. That's why people come to Courage because I've been there, done that, it didn't give me any good, no. Humble meal allows us to see what is the Lord trying to tell me at this time. What is the Lord asking me to give up? And I want to tell you this. I want to honor one brother who have actually given up his partner. No, just a month ago, it was very heavy for this person because this person had his partner in very trying times. At the time that he was suffering from a loss of someone that he loves, this person was by his side. Yet he felt the compelling command of the Lord to leave this partner. And he was in pain. But he was with the church. He had the priest, our priest, spiritual director was there with him. We were there with him, no? And we tried to comfort him along the way. It was a very, very difficult decision. And that is part of the humble meal of allowing us to know, Lord, what is your will for me? And sabi nga ni St. Thomas Aquinas, what is true love? Love is willing the good of the other. Ano ang makakabuti para dun sa tao na yan? So I'm speaking both to people who may have hurt, no? People with same-sex attractions, go to them, reconcile with them, let them know that you have committed a mistake and tell them I'm sorry and love them back. For those people who may have experienced same-sex attractions, who are wounded and who are being asked by the Lord to do something, pray about it. Pray for strength. Be in a community like Courage because you cannot do it alone. You can only do it by grace and with the camaraderie of people who could accompany you towards this path.
Salamat. Thank you for your very firm yung mga sinabi mo, no, very firm about love and but also remaining true, no, to what our faith and what our conscience tells us, no, in the Lord. Na charity really is important, humility is important in the face of pride, and that we should reject yung discrimination, yung unjust discrimination laban sa ating mga laban sa ating mga same-sex, sa mga ating brothers and sisters who experience same-sex attraction. And at the same time, remain, heeding the call of the Lord to avoid the occasions of sin, to avoid falling into the sins that can follow upon same-sex attraction, especially yung sexual contact between persons of the same sex. Although, something I also keep reminding people is that for us Christians, for us Catholics, and indeed for all true Christians, sexual activity outside of marriage is a sin, full stop. So if you're heterosexual, if you're heterosexual, kahit na hindi ka nagko-commit ng mga same-sex sins, if you're heterosexual and you're committing fornication with someone of the opposite sex, you're also a sinner, no? You don't have the right to be, to be self-righteous about it. Anyway, we're about to run out of time na kasi. I just want to go one last in a minute. Is there something you can parang huling salita, no, tungkol sa how Catholics should respond in the face of Pride Month? 1 minute.
Yeah, okay. Catholics should respond with Pride Month, no, in all humbleness and humility, kneeling before the Lord, asking Him what we should do in terms of how we could approach people, on how we could reconcile with them, and how we could actually bring clarity, no? Sarili nating buhay dapat ang maging ehemplo para mawala na yung saysay ng pagpasa nitong anti-discrimination bill. No? If you would notice, the reason why they're passing it is because there is discrimination. So let's put an end to it and let them know na parang there's no need for this law anymore because we do not discriminate anymore. No? So we have to be watchful. And this entails a lot of honesty on our part. How am I hurting people? And how will I be able to reconcile more with them? How can I bring humility into the discussion? No? And I need to emphasize the power of silence. Sometimes you don't need to say anything, and we just have to pray to God to give us the guidance and the light. That takes a lot of humility to be silent.
Mhm. Yes. And of course, I would like to remind all of our listeners as well. June is also the month of the Sacred Heart. And one of our beautiful prayers to the Sacred Heart is, Sacred Heart of Jesus, meek and humble, have mercy on me, di ba?
Yes.
Diba?
And
Meek,
we also have to remember that June is also the Immaculate Heart of Mary, was
yes.
also the humble one, di ba? Who is, I am the handmaid of the Lord, do unto me whatever you want, no, according to your holy will. And that is our prayer. What do you want from me, O God? And let me follow your will.
Sige. So, Sacred Heart of Jesus, meek and humble of heart, make our hearts like unto thine.